to your transformation program. How do you feel?
What? You're taking a whole day from me. It's only Saturday.
12 hours left.
No. We have all day tomorrow. Officially, we started Monday. We did do our first workout Sunday night when we got to Marco Island. Mm-hmm. But my first day where I kind of set that whole tone and I made that initial video, that uncomfortable video where I'm naked on the internet was last Monday. But we are 7 workouts in, which for me is a pretty darn big milestone. I think that how I feel. You know, it's been a week filled with feelings. It's been kind of an emotional it keeps ramping up, it feels like, since the Orlando Summit. You know, obviously you leave a convention like that, you go to a place where you're in community with a bunch of other people who are committed to their wins, who are showing up because they're hungry for what's next, who might be in a spot where they're at the worst part of their journey and they feel like this is the kickstart that they need to go to the next level. People who are showing up a year in from last year at their very best and who are hitting new milestones. I mean, there's just so much you get. And the emotion of this week, coming off of the Keto Orlando Summit, getting back on Clubhouse, having these conversations, you and I beginning this journey of making these videos.
Putting all our conversations out there.
It really has. It's brought a lot. And I just think about, you know, all the things that I don't know if I believed I could do before this, and how this little thing that sounds so minute of saying, I'm going to give up sugar. And it was, I'm going to give up white foods. I'm going to give up these carbohydrates. And this little tiny decision that really was kind of made in a moment. I talked about it, and I just saw my talk from the Keto Orlando Summit for the first time just 5 minutes ago. And I got about 2 minutes in initially, and we had some editing to do, and so I sent it back to Andy, and he's now our little cinematographer here. He's getting good. He's
Not
getting
for
good.
hire.
We talked about being bad until you get good. He's getting good. And I just got to see it front to back. I think about the words behind the words that I said, and all the context and all the details that went into, and this is something I experienced when I was 8, or when I was 10, or when I was 15. It's a sentence that for me holds all these memories and all these moments and all these struggles. And it's not that keto was the answer. And I want people to know that all the time. If you decide to, you start here and you end up doing paleo, or you end up going a different direction, you do the Mediterranean, it's not about what we do. It's about the thing that we do that proves that we can, that we can make the decisions, that we can commit to something and do hard things in a way we maybe never have before. And it's not that I didn't do every diet on the planet. I didn't commit to myself the way I did when I started this. And so it was really, really fun to get to see that. But it did bring a lot of emotions. And so it's not that I hadn't done all these other things before, but I hadn't committed to myself in the way that I did here, where I kind of put all my chips on the table. Where it wasn't that I thought that this was the answer, but I knew the answer wasn't going to come until I was willing to do whatever it took, even when it was hard, even through the keto flu, even when I was exhausted, even when nobody was joining me.
Even through some sore muscles?
Even through sore muscles. It was this thing that kind of gave me a sense of identity of somebody who overcomes and somebody who does hard things.
It's who you are now.
And that was not who I was before this journey. And as silly as giving up sugar sounds like doing hard things, I definitely believe that I was struggling with food addiction. And I look at kind of unpacking my childhood and some of the things that I did and some of the ways I responded to things. And it was something that I needed to probably get a different level of help from. And luckily, I kind of came into a community that helps first, that serves first, that's here and is invested in other people winning in a way that we unpack some things and we dig into hard conversations and they hold space for the hard stuff. And so I know that this week is on the kind of foundation of a belief that even if it's gonna suck, even if it's gonna be hard, that I can.
Yeah.
And I think it was I know it's not that I think, I know it was Ebony, the keto boss chick, who spoke at the Keto Orlando Summit, and she said, I can do it. I have to do it. I will do it. And it was in that moment that it took a long time to believe I can do it. And then it took years of consistency and kind of building up enough belief that I said, I will do it. I will do it. I'm at this really interesting spot in this shift, kind of with this journey as we've kind of transitioned into being a little bit more open about what it looks like day to day. And all that goes into doing this with you and with the kids, and kind of committing to this next surgery, and therefore this strength where I said, I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the phase that I'm in right now. It's like, I have to do this. I can't go back to who I was when I didn't believe I could do hard things.
Right.
I can't go back to the version of me that didn't know it was worth it. I know too much now.
You can't unknow it.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it's like that with so much, where it's like, it's not about whether or not it's going to work. If you joined my keto channel, if you stopped here and you subscribed to us, or you started watching our videos and you want us to prove to you or explain to you or to argue with you whether or not it works. I don't have to have that conversation anymore. I've lost 125 pounds.
Yeah.
It works. I did 106 pounds of it before I took my first walk and exercise for the very first time. Mm-hmm. It works. We're not really here to argue about whether or not it works. We're here to argue about and have the conversations about and hold the space for why it working makes such an impact.
Why it's worth it.
Why it's worth it.
Yeah.
Why having something that finally works gives you the chance to create room to grow in other things, to believe in yourself in other places, to start to commit to things that scare you because you've already done things that scare you. And I think that that's kind of what this week has been. So 7 days of workouts. And these weren't walks. I've done 7 days of walks. I've done 75 days of walks and stretches. I have not done workouts like what we did this week since high school. I think that for 3 days when I was at KU, one of my dorm mates brought me to the KU Jayhawks gym for 3 days. And it hurt so bad and I was so sore, it did not sound fun to me anymore. I think 2 days in a row when I went to UMKC, I went to the gym there. I think one time we got a membership to the Y, and I may have gone 4 times there.
Yeah.
Never 7. Never 7.
But you can do 7, you can do 14, you can do 30, you can do 60. This is a whole new path.
It is.
Yeah.
And that walk a mile, see mile that you talk about so much really is, it's like I had to do the first week to know I could get a week in. And I couldn't build that belief on the time I did it for 3 days or the time I did it for 4 days. I had to do the 7 days to believe that 7 days was doable. And as crazy as that probably sounds, I'm not young to have not done that since high school. That was just my identity. And I think that it felt good. It was such a win to be able to do this with food. And that's why I cannot discount the importance of that tool in my tool belt, this keto lifestyle. But I'm looking for other tools to get where I want to go next. It's like I've hammered and hammered and hammered and hammered as much as I can on the things that need hammering. I might need a different tool to get to the next level that I want to get to build the next thing. And it might require more than just the hammer. And I think that that's been a really, really fun realization this week. So something big happened this morning, and this is the last I'm going to share, is that when I woke up at 8 o'clock this morning. I'm not a morning person, so that was already big. And I was laying there and I was thinking about all the things we had to do with our day. And I went, okay, so we have a birthday party. Andy and I are going to go see the Decemberists tonight. Hey, Colin Malloy, if you ever get to my channel, you're my favorite band since I was 15. I'm doing a lot of revisiting the 15-year-old version of myself because she needs a lot of love and attention. So we're just going back there. We saw Bright Eyes a month ago. We're going to go see the Decemberists. But I was thinking about the day that I had ahead of me and I went, I know that today's a hit day. I already know what we're doing on the hit days. We've already done this. This will be my 4th hit workout. Yeah. And I went, if I don't do it now, I don't know that it's going to get done. And so everybody was still asleep. And I snuck on my tennis shoes and creeped out the front door and reset the alarm to stay just in case anybody woke up. And literally went and did that. And I said, what would Andy have me do? He'd probably have me add 15 seconds. So I'm going, okay. So I'm going to do my 5-minute walk warm up, and then I'm going to run not for 1 minute and 15 seconds, but for 1 minute and 30. And I went from doing 4 of those to 5 of those yesterday. Yeah. So today I did 5. On the 4th one, I was going straight up the hill coming back. So we live in Parkville, and so at the bottom of that hill is the Missouri River. I wanted to go run along the Missouri River for a little bit. I know that water inspires me. And so, but I had to turn around and go through our little small town and the little village point to get back to the top of our street. And when I hit the time on my watch that said it was time to run, I was at the bottom of the hill just going like this.
Isn't that how it always is?
Isn't that how it always is?
When it's time to run,
I had done 3 good. I had done 3 and I had this pace and ran by the farmer's market and okay, I was good. And I got to the bottom of that hill, and that timer started where I had to do 1 minute and 30 seconds, and I made it 50 seconds in.
Yeah.
And I just,
oh no.
And I went, I guess that means I need to do 5. So I did the 2 minutes of walking again, got that rest in, and then did a full 5th one of 1.5 minutes of running a little bit further along down the road. And I had to give myself 1 minute to breathe and get 1 minute to get my heart rate down. But it didn't mean that it couldn't be done. It meant that I had to pull something out of me that I hadn't had to pull yet. Everything so far had been flat ground. Everything so far had been easy running, like big, easy maneuvers. And running the hill was just a different landscape that I hadn't come up against yet. So even though I had done the HIIT workout, even though I'd done it before, this was the 4th one, and it looked a little bit different. And so that's kind of what I got out of this week's journey is I might get some of this down. I might get to the point where the weights aren't so hard, but then the weights are going to get heavier.
They are. We're going to
The moves
increase.
are going to get a little harder. The things that I need to do to continue to grow are going to kind of change the landscape. And I think that that's what's kind of
and we
fun
might
for
even
me.
run into some hills that we don't choose purposely.
Y'all, I don't. these legs, literally. When we get off this couch, Andy's gonna have to take my hand and pull me up. Like that's just we're a little shaky. But it's been a week, and it's never been a week before. And I think for me, that's been the worthwhile takeaway of saying the version of me that didn't believe they could do hard things is gone.
Yeah.
And this version of me is going somewhere new. And the landscape's about to change, and the hills
and we
are about
know
to
the
look
hard
different.
things are coming.
And it's like we got to the top of this peak, and then we go, oh shoot, there's a different mountain that I've never climbed. Yes, I've climbed mountains before. It's been cool.
But now you know you can climb mountains.
I know I can climb mountains, but I've never done this one before.
Yeah.
And getting used to and comfortable with not knowing the footing and not knowing the terrain yet. But that's the reason you do that with someone who does. And that's where you kind of come into play is you've kind of been up this mountain before, and you can say, put your foot here, there's safety here, take this climb, grab this, not that, that's shaky over there, pull onto this. And having someone who's willing to kind of come down from the mountaintop and help you get up, not hold you up, not carry you up, not saying that you're not worthy of doing it on your own, but willing to say, I want you to have the best climb possible. And you don't have to know everything day one because I'm willing to show up with what I know. And so I would just say, for this stage, for wherever you're at in your life right now, for whatever you're doing, for whatever you're trying to accomplish currently in your journey, you might need someone who knows the footing on this mountain, who's climbed this one, who knows the trails and the terrain, and knows that the landscape's going to change, but has already been there. And so whatever you're doing, wherever you are, whatever journey you're on, whatever you're trying to accomplish next, you can do it on your own. I did it for a long time on my own. It was probably 18 months of the first journey, the pregnancy, getting back into it before I even logged into Instagram and started sharing for the first time and realized there were other people climbing this mountain too. People I could learn from.
But not even just people. You didn't even have like the treats and the knowledge and the recipe books.
I didn't know. There was so much.
We didn't have anything.
I did it just like this, not realizing there was a whole mountain of climbers out there. I just saw this very scary narrow path I was on. And it was doable, but I wish that someone had said, this is everything I learned the first 18 months, day one. And so, I mean, I have I do mindset coaching. I do business coaching. I coach a number of keto businesses. I don't coach keto. I coach mindset, and sometimes that utilizes the keto lifestyle for understanding some of the things that we need to unpack from food addiction, food freedom, trauma, all the things that come along with it. But I have a whole list of keto coaches that I'm going, these are the people that I know will show up and say, you don't have to fall here. I've been here before, and they're willing to show up with all that knowledge.
They basically built a rope bridge across the chasm. They've done it
absolutely
all for us. Yeah.
And it's I think it's one of those things where people are questioning whether or not it's worth investing. Invest. Whether or not it's worth finding somebody and seeking somebody out who's going to help you. Seek them out. If you can always message us and say, give me 10 names. And I'll help you shop keto coaches because it's worth it. But having you here this week, the amount of times that you had to say, nope, not like that. Nope, don't hold it like that. Nope, straighten your back. Nope, flatten your back. Nope, don't go all the way down. Nope, hold it here. Nope, come up at this point. And it was one of those things I had to have complete buy-in that what you were telling me, as not just as my spouse, but as the person who was trying to help me get where I want to go here, that everything you were telling me was for my benefit. That me being wrong and me being bad and me doing it ugly and me doing it, in ways that could
Wasn't
hurt
that
me.
bad.
It was ugly. There was a lot of it that was ugly.
You did good.
There was so much of it that I had to believe that what you were saying was that you thought me doing it the right way was worth the investment,
Mhm.
and that you knew I could, and that I had to like kind of humble myself and believe that somebody else was worth listening to. And so for whatever reason you got on YouTube, or you got on our Instagram and then led you to this YouTube, for whatever reason you showed up in this space, I hope you surround yourself with as many people in this community who believe that what you're about to do or what you're in the process of doing is worth it. And I promise week one of 9.
Might be a
It
little
hurts.
painful.
Oh, it hurts. I promise that at the end of the week, you're going to go, oh man, that was harder than I thought it was going to be, but more rewarding than I could have imagined.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why we want to share and show you all the realness and the rawness of this journey at every step of the way, because it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
But the rewards, I bet, are going to be greater than I can think about right now.
And it's better with people around.
It absolutely
with
is.
a community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing us. This is our week 1 kind of check-in. It's not officially a weekend.
Okay.
Annie rushed this a day early, but I think that it's worth, kind of having these conversations when I'm in a spot where the emotions are high, when the sharing is real, because I'm coming off of some of the most exciting and empowering time of information and community I've had ever from this Keto Orlando Summit. And I'm walking into a time that probably is going to be a little bit more in solitude, a little bit lonelier. It's a little harder to, when you're recovering from surgery and no one else can really be around but your family and you're not seeing, it's hard. But the gratitude I have for the strength that comes with knowing that it's not who I am anymore, and that the identity of who I am as somebody who can do those hard things comes from everything I've gained from being part of this community. So we thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to talking to you again.